Hello, friends of Youth for Christ. My name is Meagan Bergem, and I am the Director of Youth Ministry at First Presbyterian Church in Fresno, California. I've been serving in this context for over 9 years, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Youth for Christ. I grew up in Greenville, Ohio, and I came from a very broken family. My dad had left my family when we were quite young, and my mom had bipolar depression and coped with drugs. Therefore, she wasn't very present in our lives. As the oldest of 3, I felt responsible to take care of them. By the time I had reached junior high, I was a very angry kid. I didn't understand why the cards that I'd been dealt in this life were so much harder than those of my peers. I continued to get in fights and to use my anger as excuses for not being in healthy relationships. When I was in junior high, the moment that changed my life was probably when I encountered Youth for Christ staff. They showed me what it meant to be loved in the midst of the mess. They met me where I was at. They would come and have lunch on our campuses. They would lead Bible studies, and they would share about this God. This God who was the perfect Father. This God who would be the one who would save me from the misery of what I was experiencing. Maybe not physically take me out of it all, but give me a new perspective on life, a worth and a value, a reason to live, and a purpose in my life. The Youth for Christ staff continued to invest in my life, even though I wasn't quick to receive Jesus. Because people kept referring to God as my Father, and my Father had abandoned me, I wasn't quite ready to fully surrender my life to God, because I wasn't sure that God was a good God and that I could trust in Him to not leave me. By the time I was a freshman in high school, my life had gotten even worse. I had gotten bullied by people and rumors were spreading at school, and then I ended up changing schools. At this new school, I met a bubbly blonde cheerleader who was the epitome of everything I wasn't. As a gothic, angry kid who didn't want anything to do with anybody, this person was offensive to me. And yet she continued to pursue friendship with me, invite me to church, and show me what it meant to be loved. That is when I received Christ for the first time, where I fully surrendered my life to God. And yet there was a pull on me to go back to my old school, to forgive the people who had hurt me, and to not live with that bitterness any longer. So I returned to that high school. And as I returned to that high school, Youth for Christ enters the picture again. There, I was a student leader. I went to winter camps. I attended events and invited my friends. I had prayer meetings and even was able to continue to show people what God does when He transforms your life, because I came back a completely different person. Then, as I was entering as a first-gen college student, I really was discerning what to do next. And Youth for Christ staff encouraged me in my faith to pursue what God was calling me into, even if that was leadership in the church. It was there that I continued to grow, and I went off to college and decided to do a Christian ministry degree and now serve in youth ministry. It's kind of full circle. I even partner with someone in Fresno, California, who's the director of Youth for Christ, to be able to do ministry on campus. And we share leaders and we do ministry here together. It is really sweet how Youth for Christ has been an integral part of my faith journey, and how I am so blessed to know the people at Youth for Christ and continue to give testimony to God's goodness and glory because of their relational ministry and their care for students. Thank you so much, and I love you, and I will be praying for the chapter in Ohio and beyond, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share a little bit of my story.